श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुकुं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोकैर्भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. Today we are reading Canto 4, Chapter 12, verse 41. Narada Vacha Nunam Sunite Patidevataya
सुनीते पतिदेवताय
तप प्रभावस्या सुतस्या ताम गतिम दृष्ट्वाभ्या दृष्ट्वाभ्या दृष्ट्वाभ्युपायन् अपि वेदवादिनो
विवेदवादिनो
नैवाधिगन्तुं प्रभवन्ति किं नृपा
किं नृपा।
नारदवाचा नूनां सुनेते पतिदेवतायास् तप प्रभावस्या सुतस्या तां गतिम् दृष्ट्वा दृष्ट्वा प्युपायम् अपि वेदवादिनो नैवाधिगन्तुं प्रभवन्ति किं नृपा श्रीनारदवाचा नूनां सुनीते पतिदेवतायास्
सुनीते पतिदेवताय
तप प्रभावस्या सुतस्य तां गतिम्
तां गतिम्
दृष्ट्वाभ्युपायम् अपि वेदवादिनो
दृष्ट्वाभ्युपायानपि देवादिनो
नैवादिगन्तुं प्रभवन्ति किं नृपा
नैवाधिगन्तुं प्रभवन्ति किं नृपा
word by word
नारदुवाच
please Narada Vacha
सुनीते पतिदेवताया
नूनं सुनीते पतिदेवतायास्
प्रभावस्य सुतस्य तां गतिम्
तपप्रभावास्य सुतस्य तं गतिम्
दृष्ट्वाभ्युपायानपि वेदवादिनो
दृष्ट्वापायानपि वेदवादिनो
दिगन्तुं प्रभवन्ति किं नृपा
नैवादिगन्तुं प्रभवन्ति किं नृपा नारद वाचा नूनं सुनीते पतिदेवतायास् तपप्रभावस्य सुतस्य तां गतिम् दृष्ट्वाभ्युपायानपि वेदवादिनो नैवादिगन्तुं प्रभवन्ति किं नृपा We'll read word by word translation. Narada Vacha. Narada said, Nunam, certainly, Sunete, of Suniti, Pati Devataya, very much attached to her husband, Tapa Prabhavasya, by the influence of austerity, Sutasya, of the sun, Tam, that, Gatim, position, Drishtva, observing, Abhyupayan, the means, Api, although, Vedavadinaha, strict followers of Vedic principles or strict followers of Vedic principles, or the so-called Vedantists, na, never, eva, certainly, abhigantum, to attain, prabhavanti, are eligible, kim, what to speak of, nirpaha, ordinary kings. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The great sage Sri Narada said, simply by the influence of his spiritual advancement and powerful austerity, Dhruv Maharaj, the son of Suniti, who was devoted to her husband, acquired an exalted position not possible to attain even for so-called Vedantists or strict followers of Vedic principles, not to speak of an ordinary human being. In this verse, the word Veda Vadinaha is very significant. Generally, a person who strictly follows the Vedic principles is called Vedavadi. There are also so-called Vedantists who advertise themselves as followers of Vedanta philosophy, but who misinterpreted Vedanta. The expression Vedavadarataha is also found in Bhagavad Gita, referring to persons who are attached to Vedas without understanding the purpose of the Vedas. Such persons may go on talking about the Vedas or may execute austerities in their own way, but it is not possible for them to attain to such an exalted position as Dhruv Maharaj. As far as ordinary kings are concerned, it is not at all possible. The specific mention of king is significant because formerly kings were also Raj Rishis. For the kings were as good as great sages. Dhruv Maharaj was a king, and at the same time, he was as learned as the great sage. But without devotional service, neither a great king, a Kshatriya, nor a great Brahmana, strictly adhering to Vedic principles, can be elevated to exalted position attained by Dhruv Maharaj. It's a very beautiful verse. We'll read the translation again. Sri Narada Muni said, simply by the influence of spiritual advancement and powerful austerity, Dhruv Maharaj, the son of Suniti, who was devoted to her husband, acquired an exalted position not possible to attain even for so-called Vedantists or strict followers of Vedic principles, not to speak of ordinary human beings. A very beautiful verse. I was just thinking about it. When Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, even the Raja Rishis cannot attain the position what Dhruv Maharaj has attained. Irrelevant of whoever we are, irrelevant of however material positions we have, however spiritual positions we have, which are connected to the material endeavor, at the end of the day, Prabhuji mentions a very beautiful point. Whether it's a pawn, whether it's a horse, whether it's a king or the queen, at the end of the game, everyone goes to the box. And that's my position here. Without realizing what am I doing or what am I speaking, I want to beg all of your blessings to actually discuss, and I would not say speak, I am specifically saying discuss this beautiful aspect of Krishna consciousness where Dhruv Maharaj is going back to Godhead. Our meditation every day, every moment is how can I get there? So it's a very beautiful aspect when we see such examples going back to Godhead. And what are the life example, how they lived their life and how they are paving the path for us is very beautiful. I was just hearing this beautiful verse and I want to quote this. This is, give me a second. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 24:318. It says, Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vibhu Sarvashraya Prati Sloke Prati Akshare Nana Artha Kaya. The translation says Srimad Bhagavatam is as great as Krishna, the Supreme Lord, and shelter of everything. And each and every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, and in each and every syllable, there are various meanings. Very interesting. Same verse, if it is given to 10 people, they speak in 10 different rooms. And if you can get in all these 10 rooms, you will see every speaker has their own way of sharing their own realization. Very unique. And I tested couple of times when a speaker is giving and when they read the translation and I hear them and I think about if I have to speak, how would I speak? Sorry, I'm just still selfish. And I would hear such a sublime aspect of Krishna consciousness which I could never imagine. So here, when you talk about the austerity which Dhruv Maharaj is doing, it's very pleasing to see Narada Muni, who is actually the guide and who is paving or who is guiding him on the path of devotional service. He came for asking something else, but what he achieved is something such sublime. And not only that, very interestingly, even though he is saying that I was looking for the broken glasses, but Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopi Chandra Bhagwan ki jai, Nitai Patita Pawana Gaurari ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord offered him the great position as well. And at the end of the day, when he offered him saying that you will come back to spiritual world, right? So this is seeing Lord Vishnu face to face. But his life was not as easy one can think about. Not from the beginning. He went through so much of austerity. He went through so much of austerity. And after that, when he became a king, his brother was killed. And he has to fight a great war. Not easy war to play with. And we see in our world, or in the world we live in, nothing comes very easy. Anything we do in material world, even coming to spiritual dimension is not an easy aspect. I was just hearing very beautiful class by SB Keshav Maharaj. He was very beautiful mentioning about this the title of the class is Anxiety for Advancement. Very beautiful class. He shared multiple dimensions, and I want to share a few aspects from that. Because ultimately, everyone is in anxiety. I was just talking to some devotee yesterday. The company is firing so many people. And this devotee was asking, can we find out what has to be done? Now this devotee serves day and night here in the temple. And I was thinking, why that person has to go through that difficulty? So anxiety is there for everyone. Now it's not that only the devotee is getting fired in that company. There are other materialistic people as well who have nothing to do with devotion. They're also being impacted by that thing. So everyone is in anxiety, whether it's a job, whether it's a family, whether it's a financial situation, whether it's a health. Like I was talking to another devotee. There is one devotee since months we have been seeing messages. He is in hospital, he is recovering, whatever it is. So nothing is easy. Nothing comes so easy in this world. Everyone is in anxiety. But the difference between an anxiety for a devotee versus the other people is way different because the outcome is different. We saw such a beautiful festival, and I want to just share this. I went upstairs to Prashad. Definitely, I was hungry, and then just before that festival, when I went for the plate and I didn't eat anything for 1.5 days, and I got this little bit rice. I'm like, what is Krishna teaching me out of it? That you do tapa, man. Not that you just this thing. And yesterday, when I went, or day before yesterday, Prabhu, can I give you two kofta? And I was just, I didn't know what to answer there. How Krishna is so merciful now. How do I understand that way that now I'm getting two koftas rather than just thinking about one kofta? So I was like, wow, this is Krishna's grace. And then again, I thought, okay, they offered, so I'll go again. And I said, Prabhu, can I have little more gravy? He said, yes. Prabhu, you want one extra puri? बोला उधर एक जने के लिए struggle होता था एक पूरी के लिए. Now I got two and I'm getting one more. So anxiety for Krishna is not easy. There are so many devotees working hard in the kitchen to make that happen. I was just feeling so grateful because the devotees are working day and night to make that one plate ready for making the huge festival. I was just performing maybe an hour seva there, and I was seeing the whole upstairs hall was filled for making Srimati Radharani's skirt and dress. Wow. And when I saw the darshan, mesmerizing darshan. Why it is mesmerizing? Because devotees take anxiety for Krishna, and Krishna is willing to reciprocate with each and everyone, and not up to that extent only for those devotees who rendered the service, but for the whole world who is coming to take the darshan to appreciate the beauty of the deities. What is the dressing of the deities come in is because of the devotees who took up anxiety to make that happen. Without someone taking the responsibility, we cannot attain the fruit of devotional service. His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhu asked me, Prabhu, so this was on Saturday. Friday I had a seva. I got really late. And then I wanted to come for Manglarti. And I somehow managed to come for Manglarti. And I was thinking, I had another class and I'm like, I just need an hour of sleep. And I was just thinking about it. And then I heard, oh, last time we did apples, can we do it this time also? Hare Krishna. So first and foremost thing, I'm not seeing anybody around me. Okay, मुझे करना है. And then I started thinking, okay, ऊपर बड़ा ट्री है, उससे निकालेंगे कैसे? I have to figure it out कि किधर है वो डंडा निकालने के लिए. And anyway, so I was caught up. Went to give the class. I gave the class, and then I went to sleep. By the time I came, then I had some other engagement with kids, and by the time I came, and I was thinking, Krishna, now I have to find out someone to go. And then I remember that when I went upstairs, the apples were already there. My eyes were wide open. Prabhuji was sitting there. वो किधर से आया? Said we went there with Jugal Kishore. We got it also. I'm like, wow. They didn't have to think the way I thought, because I thought I need the stick to get that high, get that, and I need people to support me. They did it. And I was sitting there. I'm like, okay, now we have to make the garland. There were devotees who were making so beautiful garlands. They made very beautiful, which was not an easy task to make that apple. And when it went on the altar, these apples were not of excellent quality, which I would put it in, but the devotion when every devotee put in together, they look so beautiful. And Sugandharaj Prabhu was doing there for hours and hours. He managed that to make this beautiful garland there. And this is what is difference between a person who is an anxiety for maintaining this body or a person who is an anxiety for remembering Krishna and serving Krishna. And I was just thinking about it. Something happened on the Sunday Aarti when we had a festival. And I started thinking, if I die today, who is going to take care of my kids? And then Paramatma's voice came. Do you think you are taking care of your kids? You did not know even how to cook when your wife left. You think you are taking care of them? Then you are an illusion, sir. Whether you exist or you don't exist, everyone is taken care of. And I realized, who is taking anxiety? Indirectly, it is actually Krishna who's taking anxiety, not we are. How that has to happen? This is beautiful pastime which is there in Mahabharata. We have all heard about it, but just coming to this part, coming to this point, when Bhishma Pitama is being approached by Duryodhana, and Duryodhana says, what are you doing, man? You are the great archer, you are the great leader of our army, and you could kill Pandavas. You're not doing anything. And he provoked him. And Bhishma took a vow, tomorrow all the Pandavas will be gone, or I will be gone. So he takes the 5 arrows. Duryodhana comes to him, give me these 5 arrows. I still feel that you will have a soft corner for them and you will not use these arrows. I will take care of it and I'll give you tomorrow when you go for fighting. So Duryodhana took these 5 arrows. This is night. Arjuna is sleeping in his tent. Krishna comes. Arjuna, wake up. Why, Krishna? Hey, Bhishma Pitama has took a vow that he wants to kill you tomorrow. He wants to kill all the Pandavas. Why do I have to worry, Krishna? You are there, no? Wake up. Yes, Arjuna, you go to Duryodhana. When you saved him from Yakshas, at the time, he asked you, whatever you want, I'll give you. Now it's a time you go and ask these 5 arrows. And he goes to Duryodhana, and Duryodhana, when he hears, he says, what do you want? You want the kingdom? I'll give you right away. He says, I don't want the kingdom. I want these 5 arrows. Duryodhana is completely bewildered. How the heck he got to know that these 5 arrows are going to be used for him tomorrow, and they are with me, and he's coming for the exact arrows. This is where Krishna took an anxiety for his devotee. Duryodhana was an anxiety whether I'm going to win or not win, because he was thinking, what is in it for me? But what is happening with Arjuna? What he did is only devoted his life for Krishna. And Krishna is an anxiety for him. So this is a very important point that one has to be always mindful about. It's not I am the doer. It's not that I am an anxiety. Krishna is in more anxiety than what anxiety I am in. But he wants to see my sincerity. One time, a king, he was approached by all citizens with all kind of problems. And he was just tired. He was frustrated. What is this? Everybody just comes to me and throws all the problems. So he decided to have some solution. So what he did is he arranged a exhibition. He arranged an exhibition that everyone brings their own problem. We will make a gallery of all the problems. And everyone brought their problem. The king created a gallery where he put in all the problems. A lot of people have that tendency. Why they read the newspaper? They want to see others' problems. So definitely exhibition was houseful. Everyone came and और ये देखें उसकी जिंदगी में क्या चल रहा है देखें अच्छा ये भी नहीं कर पा रहा he is also using WhatsApp while chanting. That's okay. I have a colleague here. I have a friend here who also does like me. So anyhow, this guy, everyone landed up there. Exhibition was free entry. So सब लोग आ गए. Free है तो सबको ही आता है. Secretary से free प्रसाद. Like Janmashtami when I went and I was just cracking a joke to other devotees just on Sunday. When I was there here, and then when I went out, there was a huge line. Now, wow, so many devotees are eager to come and take the darshan of the Lord. But I started from bottom, and then I saw the line is not going up. This line is like turning here. Oh, prasadam is on. So prasadam free hai, lenge usko. So these guys also came in there. अरे फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट देखने को मिल रहा है, सबका प्रॉब्लम क्या है? सो एवरीवन, अरे उसकी जिंदगी में ये चल रहा है, उसकी जिंदगी में ये चला, ही हैज दिस प्रॉब्लम, शी हैज दैट प्रॉब्लम, व्हाटएवर इट इज. So then exhibition was getting over. Our exhibition was then, people are leaving out. King said, wait, 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 where are you going? There is an exit fee. What is an exit fee? Are very interesting. People never heard about exit fee. So he said, what is an exit fee? He said, you have to take problems with you. You choose whatever problem you want, you take it with you. Now, this was a difficult question for them. तो स्टार्ट करने लगे, सबसे कम किसका प्रॉब्लम है वो लेते हैं, ऐसे करके लेट्स डू दैट. सो ही स्टार्टेड दे स्टार्टेड वन पेंटिंग. नहीं, आई थिंक थोड़ा बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, आगे जाते हैं. देन सेकंड, थर्ड, फोर्थ, एंड फाइनली दे केम टू देयर ओन पेंटिंग. I think let me just take this with me. My problems are smaller than the other people's problem. I would just go and take with me. And to their surprise, the whole gallery was empty. क्योंकि खाली हाथ जा नहीं सकते, एक से ज्यादा ले नहीं सकते. भाई प्रसाद होएगा, लाइक आई सेड, वो एक पूरी की दो पूरी दो. इधर कोई प्रॉब्लम होएगा, विल यू से आई और दो प्लेट में, आई हैव मोर स्पेस. यू डोंट वांट, यू वांट अ स्मॉलर प्लेट, यू डोंट वांट अ बिगर प्लेट, and you want to be the last one, you don't want to be the first one. So they took all the problems, and king realized, and everyone realized, not that anyone is free from anxiety. Everyone has their own set of problems. So in this case, what we see, coming back to Krishna consciousness, because we are not here to discuss about what are the material problems are. When we come to Krishna consciousness, one may ask themselves the question, were there more problems before Krishna consciousness or after Krishna consciousness? Any thoughts? Are there more problems? Were there more problems before we came to Krishna consciousness, or there are more problems after we came to Krishna consciousness? Before, okay, beautiful. Anybody else? Be honest there.
No, I feel yeah, it was same, but after coming, we realized we had more problems.
Amazing, very good. After coming to Krishna consciousness, the mountain of Prabhuji is in bliss. That's why you can think about before. The problems are more than how we were. Like sometimes people ask, my kids sometimes, Dad, how come that people outside are more happy than us? Because when we are tired about it. So the point here is that, like Prabhuji is mentioning about, when we are, or he asked the question, why devotees suffer more than the karmis? He just mentioned that point. And I said, because we are in such a condensed environment, we get to know about other devotees' problem, and there is certain kind of compassion which arose in our heart, and we think about other people's problem. But if you see outside, they are so fragmented that the problems are not visible only. That what the other people are saying. When we go to the hospital, some devotee is admitted, one room will be of a devotee, another 499 rooms will be of karmis. So not that they don't go through problem, but because when we come together, we share our problems. We don't just we stick with our problems, but we share other people's problem. And that is the crux of Krishna consciousness. We feel it's a pain for me. Not that these are my problems, these are our problems. When you see the festival which is happening, everything has to come together. The devotees who are on the altar have to come together. The devotees who are making the dressing also have to come together. The devotees who are cooking also have to come together. Everyone has to come together. So it's not a problem of one person who is taking care of it. It's a problem of the congregation. It's a problem of all of us together to solve that problem, because we want to make this festival as festive as possible. Right? So when we see from spiritual life perspective, we see the examples from Srimad Bhagavatam. We see in Srimad Bhagavatam, when devotees took the responsibility, when devotees took anxiety for Krishna, their name entered in Srimad Bhagavatam. You never see a scripture talking about a karmi, he solved a big problem. Okay, river is polluted, I clean the river, his name goes to Srimad Bhagavatam. No. You only see the example of devotees who took up responsibility. And if you see Srimad Bhagavatam, it's full of problems. You agree? From Canto 1 to Canto 12, everyone has a problem. Everyone is going through difficulty which are beyond even dream about it. You see here, Brahma ji, क्या सेवा उनको मिला है? तुम create करो. I should procreate, but I was using for a Hindi word. What is Hindi word? रचना करो तुम. You become an engineer. You रचयिता. So तुम ये करो. Okay. Is he following Krishna's instruction? Yes. His existence is around Krishna's instruction? Yes. He comes up. Okay. Now how do I do the creation? हाथ में कुछ भी नहीं है. Like I was telling about apple लाने का है, मेरे पास कुछ भी नहीं है. But he had a faith. What does he hear? Tapa. That you do austerity, everything will be provided. Okay. Brahmaji got the creation. He is creating. He started creating. Now his task is to populate the entire universe. Now he begot 4 sons. He says, Chalo, now help me. He said, no. 4 Kumara says, we don't help. Are Krishna ka instruction hai. That's okay. We are good. Are I am your father. So what? This say nahi karne ka hai. What comes out of it? Frustration. He wants to create, he wants to do something for the pleasure of the Lord. He's not doing a single thing for his pleasure. Like for an example, devotees who cook in the kitchen, not that they want to, अरे ये मुझे मिलना चाहिए. They are cooking for other devotees. उसके ऊपर जाके बोलेंगे आज सॉल्ट बराबर नहीं डाला, आज नीचे जला हुआ है, आज ये प्रॉब्लम है. And I'm like, Krishna, when I am there in the hot seat, how does it feel? So I realize if I'm not part of the execution, then I have no right to complain about it. And when I think about this aspect, which is said, don't try to be the, what is Martin Luther's King? Don't try to say don't try to, come again, bro. Don't tell the country what country can do for you. Come forward and tell what you can do for the country. The same principle can be followed when we come to Krishna consciousness. अरे ये इधर नहीं है, ये उधर नहीं है, उधर नहीं. One time, रोहिणी नंदन प्रभु is such a sweet person. No? मेरा कोई भी frustration होता है ना, मैं उनको जाके share करता हूँ. And कोई भी frustration, when I tell him, no, प्रभु मेरे हाथ में नहीं है. And one day I realized, what is this? You always go and complain, and you don't do that. कि trash उधर क्यों पड़ा है, box उधर पड़ना चाहिए, इधर smell आना चाहिए. तुम करो ना खुद. दूसरों को क्यों बोलना है? That's the point which is being mentioned here. You see, this is mentioned in 2nd canto. You see again, finally Brahma ji did create everything. सब कुछ हो गया, 14 planetary system हो गया. अभी क्या complain आया, क्या criticism आया? That the creator is so imperfect, the Gopi says that he gave us eyelids. We cannot see Krishna for that moment. He created everything wonderful. He tried his best to follow Krishna's instruction. In spite of all those difficulties, the outcome is, it's a transcendental criticism, fortunately, here. And that's how we have to work on. What you see here is, Brahmaji understand was, I can never be perfect. Whatever I do, there is going to be mistakes. And he cannot realize the position of Krishna when he comes to Vrindavan. And he realizes, अरे इतना सब सेवा करा, but I miss the crux. And whatever times when we do the seva, our focus is on what and how. You agree? Think over on that. Any service we do, our focus is on what and how. क्या बनाना है मुझे, कैसे बनाना है. But what we miss behind that is the why aspect. This is all are the words of SB Keshav Maharaj. I am just repeating his words. I have zero contribution. When we understand the why behind what am I doing, that will not make us do the mistakes which these devotees are doing there. Why these mistakes are there in Srimad Bhagavatam? We don't write books to identify problems. You see any material book, they write the books to glorify themselves or to glorify. Here the devotees' problems are highlighted. One may say, अरे ब्रह्मा जी हमारे परदादा हैं, उनके प्रॉब्लम्स और क्या मिस्टेक्स किए हैं वो श्रीमद् भागवतम में जा रहे हैं. बोले यार ये क्या है यार, मेरे जो पीछे वाले बच्चे होंगे वो क्या, लाइक फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल, my math is very poor. I failed twice in math. When my kid comes in front of me, you see how wonderful your mother was, this is the score. I can't quote myself. But at the same time, I can't quote them my failures because they will say, अरे तुमने करा, हम तो परंपरा में है ना. I can't do that. So Brahma ji is prayer. Brahma ji say, अरे मेरे को बोलेंगे परंपरा में आ रहे हैं हम लोग. What is this going on? But no, that's a glorification for Brahma ji. So when we focus on why, then everything comes into context. And that's a beautiful aspect. And I want to end with this beautiful sutra which he gave in his class. And I want to share on that part and we can take it from there. So he mentions about 6 principles. One second. He mentions about 6 principles or 5 principles. First principle he mentions about is spiritually inspired. Very important. When someone is spiritually inspired, why will automatically come out of that one. And he mentions this beautiful point. We need to spend time on why. And our service lot of times is focused around how and what, but unless why is very strong, how and what becomes very, very burdensome after some time. That service which we do should bring the joy that I get to do this. I get to sing for the Lord. I get to sweep the floor. I get to cook for the Lord. When the why is clear, then what and how doesn't matter. And over the time, you become the instrument of Krishna's mercy and you experience the joy of devotion. Otherwise, it just becomes burden. So very beautiful point. I really liked it. So the question comes in is, how do I remain spiritually inspired? Is by always chanting, reading, and hearing. And contemplating on that, introspecting on what is there for me to learn out of that. तो जी आप इधर बैठने चाहिए. Like kids sometimes tell substitute teacher, उनको मजा आता है substitute teacher. बोले क्यों? क्योंकि कुछ काम नहीं कराती है. So I have no substance to share. So please forgive me about it and seek your blessings. I can only speak words, but realization comes when you do something. So grateful for your blessings, Prabhu. This is a very important point. So second point, after spiritually being inspired, one has to be mission focused. And I really like this line, but more wonderful which he mentions is, one has to find their own mission within the mission. Unless one doesn't have a mission within the mission, the life is goalless. Sorry for a wrong word, whatever it is. Life is without the goal. Because when we come, क्यों आ रहे हैं भाई, Sunday feast attend कर रहे हैं आरती में. Sometimes when I sit and when the aarti is going on and I'm like completely lethargic. And कोई तो पोक कर रहा है अंदर से, अरे बाहर जाओ, खड़े नहीं रहना. Like I was there in the altar, I was there here. ऐसा झटका लगा. Srimati Radharani says, you are not eligible to stand here. Get lost from here. And I couldn't maintain that consciousness. I had to go out. And that is how, when once someone finds a mission within the mission, That sublime connection with Paramatma, the sublime experience of devotion automatically comes. And that joy can never be compared with anything in this world. I was just reading Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prayers, very beautiful. The Dwarka Patnis, they are with Krishna. But when Krishna goes to sleep, they cannot go to sleep. And they actually start asking everyone, whether it's a moon, whether it's a bird, Chakora bird, or whether different species, how come you must be not able to sleep because you are feeling the same separation which we are feeling? Why they are feeling that? Their whole existence is around what is their mission within the mission. Krishna had a mission, which is Sarva Dharman Parityaja. No. Dharma Sansthapanadhaya Sambhavani Yoge Yoge. Paritranaya Sadhunaya Vinashaya Cha Duskrita Dharma Sansthapanadhaya Sambhavani Yoge Yoge. He has a mission. He comes for the mission. But gopis and Dwarka Patnis have a mission. What is their mission? How can we please Krishna? This is a very beautiful point. Before Krishna appeared in the life of Rajavasis, their life was perfect. I can't use this statement somewhere else. This is the line where we can understand the deepness of this point. After Krishna appeared in their life, एक के बाद एक problem. एक के बाद एक problem. But what is their thought process? How can I please Krishna? How can I serve Krishna? And Prabhuji was beautifully mentioning when Kaliya was there, when Krishna did not come into limelight unless all Vrajavasi, जब full show हो गया, full theater सबको ही है, then Krishna came into action. Until then they were in anxiety. When we see Govardhan Leela, what is happening is everyone is in anxiety. When Krishna lives that Govardhan hill, every Gopa thinks that, can I put my stick? It must be very heavy for him. Can they do it? They can't do it. But they look for a mission within mission. What is Krishna's mission? Hey, I want to protect my Vrajavasis. And what is their mission? We want to protect Krishna. How can we take care of Krishna? And this is something, such a sublime aspect. One has to find a mission within mission. He quotes few examples and he shares one example because the service is not small or big. It's about the intention. And he quotes that Mother Kulangana, that's what I remember. Feel free to correct me on that. What is her mission? That the Rajbhog, the morning, not Rajbhog, the morning sweet offering, which goes to Krishna. She did it for 40 years, every day. And there was devotee in manner, he said, the toilets has to be completely clean. So that he took as a mission and did it for his life. And that what actually gives us substance. The third point which he mentions about, one has to be emotionally connected. Super point. Very super point. He says, I want to bring something from Ramayana. Lord Ram has one completely department allocated to what? Just listen the problems of others. Very interesting. So people will come, will give the problems, will speak problems. What this person has to do? Just listen. So Maharaj was mentioning that the temple president there, he would call me every week and he would talk about all the crazy problems he has to handle. And then one day, while S.B. Keshav Maharaj was leaving, he said, this temple president said, thank you for being a great therapist. Are I didn't even give you any solution for that. I didn't want the solution. See, most of the therapists don't give you solution. They just listen to your problem. And this is a very important part. So what is he mentioning in that? When you talk about emotionally connected, one has to have a close friend in Krishna consciousness or friends in Krishna consciousness whom we reveal our heart and talk about openly. These are the problems I'm having. I was in very beginning of Krishna consciousness. I forgot who was Maharaj who was giving that class. Radha Kunjbehari temple is a very old temple. He was a sannyasi. He was giving a class. He spoke a very bold line. You know why devotees, Srila Prabhupada disciples, or even some of the sannyasi fell down? Not just because they didn't have tangible substance to experience in Krishna consciousness. It's just because they did not have a friend to reveal their heart. And this is the same problem if you were to see from Ajamil's pastime. He saw something and he was struggling within. This is not right. He was trying to solve that problem with his intelligence and he miserably failed. And our acharyas mentioned this is the power of association. When we come in association of devotees, we actually use this as a medium to inspire ourselves and talk about the problems I'm facing and how can I get away with that. So that's the third point which he mentioned. The fourth he mentioned about is sorry, I didn't bring my glasses. Psychophysically situated in right ashram and right varna. Prabhupada writes, he mentions about it, Gajendra. Gajendra was extremely powerful, but he was in an alien place. That's not his place. That's Crocodile's place. Though Crocodile was not as powerful as Gajendra, but Gajendra was losing because he was not in his place where he has to. So one devotee have to identify their core strength and try to use that as a service to Krishna. Like you see, I was thinking about it. I was puzzled seeing the Veena or sitar, which is that sitar? Veena, okay. Was in front of Srimadana. I was puzzled. I was not on altar, so I can't see things, but I was completely puzzled. So beautiful. So beautiful. Wow, Krishna, just one can never imagine such a darshan ever. And just thinking about that for entire life, how Mataji utilized her skill to make something more sublime. He was just thinking about it. The fifth one is practically balanced. A very good point. His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj was also there in this talk. Towards the end, he was speaking about, he said, when I was in 1976, I went to India and did a lot of seva. And I came to Switzerland and I was sick. I was hospitalized. He got malaria. So the doctors tell him, Mr. Monk, you exploited your body so much. I don't think so we'll be able to save you. You have few days to live. And Maharaj's parents get to know. And if you know, Maharaj's parents are very rich. He comes from a very rich background. So they flew in helicopter. This is 1976, I'm saying, by the way. So they flew, they came in here. So you wanted to give everyone something. You wanted to dedicate your life for someone. Where are you now? What did Krishna consciousness give you? They told him. And Maharaj was just smiling. And then this nurse came in. If you survive through this night, you'll be able to live. Otherwise, I don't think so. You'll be able to survive through. Maharaj is mentioning about his story. And he was mentioning about, I started taking shelter of Krishna. And I passed through that night and here I am. Wow. Maharaj is mentioning about it. So what does he specifically mention on this fifth point is living a life with deep spiritual resilience to unlock deep spiritual joy. One has to, this is a very beautiful word about resilience in Krishna consciousness, which is indirectly tolerating a provoking situation and much more, or other aspects of Krishna consciousness. How do we build that resilience in Krishna consciousness? That we also have to be balanced, understanding I struggle, so please don't ask me the question how to balance. Sham Kishore Prabhu very well knows it, and he can give you 15 other pastimes on that where I messed up. And I asked him, I will do this seva, and I didn't appear. He was like, Prabhu, you were supposed to come. Mula. Really, Prabhu, sorry, bhul gaya. That's so I'm not there yet. By your prayers, I'll get there. One has to learn how to be balanced, taking care of various aspects of Krishna consciousness. And I'll end with this thing. I spoke about that and I will share that and summarize the class. When I came from Pune, I grew up in Krishna consciousness in Pune. And if I'm able to speak a single word, it is all because of my counselor, it's all because of my mentors who brought me to Krishna consciousness. But over the years, I've seen so much devotees have gone through, so many mistakes they did, so many learnings they did. And what I understood from all this experience is that there's two things. One is to understand why am I doing what am I doing? And second has to be one has to be grounded to understand this material world. Even though we are practicing a spiritual process, we cannot close our eyes and ignore our body and ignore our other dimensions of life and struggle. I learned in a hard way, and I will quote it, my example there. I stopped. I was into technical architecture, which means I have to upgrade myself with the technology. I'm like, I don't want to do all this. So what I would do is, we'll sit in a conference room and I would read Srimad Bhagavatam. And I would just create some document and give it to the team. 1 year passed. I got a lot of those. I should be an example for others. The other architects who would say, "What are you doing, man? You're setting up a wrong example. तुमको कुछ पता नहीं है, मुझे पता है. भक्ति मतलब यही करना है. कुछ करने का नहीं है. भगवान सब संभाल लेंगे." 1 year passed. Management changed, and one guy who was the guy who nobody will speak to him, but he used to work 12 hours. They decided to make him a manager, and they made me report to him. Now this guy giving me left and right at work, and my life was completely miserable. So a lot of other people left that company, and मैं इंटरव्यू देना चालू किया. इंटरव्यू के बाद इंटरव्यू, I was failing. Then I went to my counselor and I shared my problem. This is what is happening. I need a job. He said, bro, we are still maintaining a material life. We are not Paramhamsa, which we can just leave and just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told to Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur said, I'll do clap and everything will be provided there. Then I studied. Then finally I got a job. And I realized one has to also maintain material aspects of life because ultimately this body is a carrier. If body is taken care of nicely, we can practice spiritual life for a longer period of time. To summarize, we were talking about this beautiful verse about Dhruv Maharaj, who is going to spiritual world, and Narada Muni is glorifying his exalted position and talking about his penance. And we talked about what is our austerity, what is our tapa, what is our penance, is taking anxiety for Krishna. We give an example about Duryodhana and Arjun, where Krishna is taking an anxiety for his devotees, and Krishna provides much more sublime. When we come to Krishna consciousness, the problems don't increase, they become more visible to us. And others' problems, other devotees' problems become our problem. And that's how we actually see and we grow in our Krishna consciousness. And we gave an example about when Krishna came in Vrindavan, before he came, everyone's life was sublime. But when Krishna came, it became even more sublime with problems because they now have only one shelter to take of Krishna. We talked about 5 principles to actually understanding the why aspect in Krishna consciousness. We talked about one has to be spiritually inspired, how one can be spiritually inspired by chanting, reading, and hearing and focusing on that. And I was just seeing, you see, same verse if you read, some people dissect something much more sublime than I do. And I was just thinking about when Rasika Bhuvi Prabhu was speaking. how he connected the verse and talk about how Srimati Radharani is quoted in every aspect, which if you see from that perspective, Krishna is asking gopis to go, but actually he is asking them to stay. And he is talking about Srimati Radharani. So that's spiritual inspiration. One has to be mission focused. One has to find a mission within the mission. We gave an example about Mother Kulangana, who actually was making sweets for the Lord for 40 years. We talked about one has to be emotionally connected, right? Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami has already quoted that six loving exchange, and one of them is to reveal our heart to someone in confidence and to hear from someone in confidence. So one has to find a friend. And then the last one, we talk about psychophysical nature. One has to be psychophysically situated, which is one has to understand what is their strength. That does not mean that we do not do other activity. And what was Maharaj, your god brother? Remind me again, Prabhuji. Bhakti Prabhu Maharaj. Very beautifully he spoke on this aspect. Very wonderfully. I'm like, that was very beautiful. And then the last one is one has to be practically balanced. Yuktahara prayayas yuktahara. Thank you, Prabhuji. So one has to focus on that part, and that's how we can be resilient in Krishna consciousness. I just repeated what I heard. I don't know anything. I don't have my own realization, but I come here to speak, to seek your blessings. And I simply request you all, beg you all to please pray for me. I just, I don't know philosophy much. I don't know verses much. Only thing which I know is seeing these beautiful examples to actually following their footsteps. So Shila, I want to end with that. Shila Prabhupada ki Jai, Samaveda Gaura Bhaktavinda ki Jai. Thank you. Any comments or reflections before we end? प्रभु आप तो कुछ बोले बगैर जा नहीं सकते हैं प्लीज looking for your blessings when you speak.
I love the point you mentioned how and the examples you gave how Krishna takes anxiety for instance. I was also remembering one instance when you were telling about Duryodhana and Arjuna. I was thinking how Krishna came when Raghunath Das Goswami was chanting. When Krishna came and Krishna was in anxiety with this lion. And Krishna is standing there. So that was another thought came to my mind how Krishna is taking anxiety for everything. Devotees absorb. Krishna is like, what is will he harm my devotee? So he has to come.
Very beautiful, Prabhu. Shamanand Krishna Prabhu was sharing about how Krishna takes an anxiety, and he quoted the example about Srila Raghunath Das Goswami when he was so busy, so meditatingly chanting, lion was there, and Srimati Radharani herself personally appear in anxiety. I have to take care of him from lion. So very beautiful. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing. Any other reflections before we end? Okay, Shila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you all. Hare